Hey guys, how are you doing today? Today's video is titled When Your Back is Against the Wall. What do you do when your back is against the wall? So, what do you do when your back is against the wall and you need help, and every direction that you seem to turn seems to lead to another dead end? This is where your faith has to be anchored. See, there's moments in life when your back is against the wall and you genuinely need help, financial assistance, medical care, housing, employment, simply someone who's willing to open up a door. And what I've come to realize, when you're desperate for an answer or a way, we will naturally run towards whatever looks like help. But one of the lessons that I've learned through my journey is that everything that looks like progress is actually not progress. Sometimes you may find yourself caught in a progress that keeps moving just enough to make you believe like something is actually happening, while some of us may never seem to move anywhere. We're like in a hamster wheel, continuously just going around and around and around and around. Now, what does that mean? It means a phone call may lead to an appointment. An appointment may lead to an application. An application may lead to more documents needed. A system may show progress. It may show things are moving along. And as you check, still processing, still processing, still waiting, still calling. And you finally get someone and they says, "We're working on it." And enter to an office and another says, "Try this department." And you keep following the trail because you believe that eventually the door will open. But you are still on a hamster wheel, continuously going around and around and around with no answers. Now, this is where I'm actually at right now in my life. And this is where my faith has to stay anchored. And this is the part of my life where Psalms 121 comes into uh, effect. I look up to the hills, for whence cometh my help. My help coming from the Lord which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee shall not slumber. He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Now the enemy, they watch. They keep tabs. They dig, they pry, just to know your vulnerability. And this is where they insert themselves. And it may feel sometimes like it's draining or frustrating. And you're probably saying, the appearance of help, where is it? Where is it coming? I'm constantly seeking and searching, knocking on doors. And you may not see the opportunity. You may not see where the help is coming from. But I'm here to tell you, the God who walks with you is the God who is a God of opportunity. He's a God of connection. He's a God that doesn't wait for a phone call or an appointment. He shows up in the right time. Because sometimes what may look like the answer is not coming is actually God working. God's putting things in order. God is probably trying to get our attention. What may look like a dead end is actually God is positioning things. See, this video is not for me to have you focus on the negativity of what may come against you or, the blockage. Um, I want you to expect open doors. But at the same time, I want you to be aware of how sometime process is delayed. And this is where your discernment is needed, where discernment is important. See, the enemy uses tactics to derail us, to frustrate us, you know, and to block sometime our path and the assistance that we need. And sometimes the very people that we're in need of searching for are sometimes put in our path to cause difficulties that we need, the difficulties to stop the assistance. Now, I want you to listen carefully to this. I have to say this. Not every delay means someone is working against you. We have to be fair about the economic times. We have to be fair about some systems are simply broken. Sometimes funding is limited. Sometimes the bureaucracy is slow. Offices are short-handed. And we understand how the times are. But I also want you to understand, regardless whatever the reason is, the lesson remains the same. You can be moving through progress without actually moving towards a solution. That's why I started thinking today about something. And I've heard this throughout my life. Everyone knows of someone somewhere. Think about it. You may not know of a person working in the exact office where you need assistance, but someone does. Because if the powers be want to delay you or delay your progress, it can be done. But there's still hope in the midst of what I just said. Here's something else for you to think about. You may know of someone who knows someone who works in an office, in a building, in the system, somewhere. Someone that can give you the assistance that you need, the information to help you receive the needed direction. Sometimes the breakthrough isn't about knowing the right person. Sometimes it's about finding the right information, the right path. So you have to step back. You have to think differently. We can't always let closed doors, frustrate us or have us to believe that there's no help in sight. Because we serve a powerful God, a mighty God, a God who puts everything in place. We just have to change our tactics and not be so desperate to run to the first thing. See, what happens is I'm so much in need of medical care and financial assistance and housing. So, I get a call and the name that pops up is the name of the hospital, which is, it's legit. It's legit. And I made an appointment, and I was directed to a building where I kind of had a, a little negative thought because it was not basically a process building, but this person moves to and fro to other buildings. But while I was sitting there, I was like, you know, not only it's the location didn't seem right to me, but then I asked questions after I left. They didn't understand why I was there, so that kind of brought a little confusion. But after I left, I called, and her reason made sense. But then I was thinking, I mean, my desperation is actually leading me into the walls, and I'm allowing the need that I have, and it's kind of drowning my connection with God. For some reason, I feel like I'm not praying appropriately, and I feel like this weight. I feel that you know the the things that are coming against me in life. They sense this. They see you're moving from one location to another, a hotel to hotel, and you know, and the desperation. They see it, and of course, the enemy, he prowls around, ruins a soul. I mean, they follow you and certain things in your aspect in your life. But I'm not here to focus on the negativity. I'm here to focus on clarity. And the clarity that I got is I'm not going to allow the desperation that I have in my life to make me make wrong decisions. I have to start looking at things differently. I have to start believing that the Holy Spirit is the one who will guide me. And I have to start praying the right way, praying to make the right decisions and be more openly and understand my path. See, when you're desperate, anything that looks like help can feel like an answer. And what the enemy is hoping for is that you don't see clearly enough to know that you're following a dead end. They want you to pursue, to go around in circles. So I've decided to pause, pray, do some more research, ask questions, and do some verifying, and use my discernment, the one that I speak so much about. Stop allowing the enemy to lead me without a leash, because God's wisdom, it doesn't require me to run around in circles, nor does it require me to abandon my wisdom. See, the Bible tells us in James 1, verse 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God. Very simple. Ask God for wisdom. Sometimes the answer isn't immediate visible. Sometimes God gives us the wisdom to recognize the wrong doors, the traps before we walk through them. Sometimes He gives us the patience to walk away and wait on His answer as He is redirecting us towards a completely different path. Sometimes we are so in rush of having things to turn out how we want or to get out of that situation that we are trying to rush past what God is working in our lives. Sometimes He gives us that patience so that we can wait on Him. Sometimes the help that you may need, or the help that I may need, is closer than I even realize, than you even realize. And you're trying to create your own scenario, your own help, your own outcome. But you have to stop looking only at the obvious places. And that's what I came to realize today. I'm doing the bare minimum. I'm looking at the surface and I'm not looking underneath. See, when the process seems to be going nowhere, don't automatically assume that your story is over. Don't automatically assume that that's your dead end. Take a step back, look again, ask better question, seek legitimate help, talk to people, build connections, Keep God at the center of every decision that you make. Because when your back is against the wall, desperation may tell you to run towards the thing that looks like an answer. But wisdom teaches you to discern which door that you actually want to walk through and the door that God is leading you. Delay is not the end. What looks like a closed door may be God redirection. And what looks like no way forward may simply mean that you haven't discovered the right path yet. And that's what I'm believing, and I'm trusting God that I haven't discovered the right path. So I'm not going to confuse progress with progress. What I mean is that sometimes we think that we are undergoing a pattern or a way, and we see a structure and we think that everything is going okay, but actually it's just at a halt. Progress does not define progress. So never let desperation convince you that you have to accept every door simply because it opens. And sometimes faith is all that we have to hold on to. And that is the only thing that will lead us through the right door. When progress seems to be going nowhere, don't lose hope. Pause, pray, discern, reflect, and remember who your Father is. Allow Him to lead you so that you can continue to walk in the path that He has for you. And allow Him to be by your side. The right door is going to open. And what you expect, God, if it is aligned with the will of God, you shall receive it. God knows exactly who you are. He knows what you need. And I'm here to tell you that your story isn't over yet. Sometimes faith begins when you don't know what to do next. God promises His presence and help when we feel overwhelmed. That's Isaiah 41, verse 10. But when your eyes remain on God, you can trust that He knows exactly where He's leading you. Now, this is not just a message. This is a declaration of faith. We refuse fear. We stand firmly on Jesus Christ, and we believe that when faith speaks, heaven moves. Welcome to this channel, where surrender is strength, faith is our language, and God is still speaking. Even though your back is against the wall, you have a God that holds the key to open every door. Just reanalyze yourself and don't try to do it on your own. Ask God to help you to make the right decision. Use your discernment. Sometimes we rush because we're desperate, we're in need. But sometimes God wants us to take a slow step, one day at a time, one step at a time. I love you with the love of Christ, and I pray to see you on the next message.